Yesterday, I actually got the chance to visit the Mission Viejo Go Club again, and it was really fun. I played against a stronger player, and there's a funny thing that happens when you play against a stronger player. You get a little self-doubt. You're used to making confident moves, but once you know someone's stronger than you, you start doubting yourself. But I think that's a good practice. I haven't played a player as strong as that in a while, but I think it was a good experience. Welcome to Start Point, the show about Go for Go fans away from the board. Speaking of the Mission Viejo Go Club, we got another very exciting episode for y'all. Welcome Tin to Start Point. Hey Tin.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on the show. This is Sean's partner in crime of founding the Mission Viejo Go Club. Mm-hmm. You are the credited official founder of the Mission Viejo Go Club.
Yeah. I guess I am, yeah.
Yeah, although Sean says he was there pretty much since the beginning, but you are the one who kind of started the whole thing.
Yeah, I always tell Sean that he's like, without him, this club would never really go off the ground, because it's just me sitting alone kind of thing. And because he was there, I think he was a big part of the reason why the club kind of just launched, so...
Yeah, the second person is really important. I don't know if you've seen, there's like a video that went viral like a long time ago, many years ago. Mm-hmm. But it's this guy, he's dancing at a festival, and he's just like looking crazy by himself, and everyone's kind of like staring at him, and he's just the only one dancing. And then eventually someone walks up and starts dancing with him, and then in no time flat, like everyone just starts dancing with him, and it's like...
I think I've seen that video. Yes, yeah. I think I've seen that video. He was like kind of doing like a little bit of like a side shuffle type of thing. Yeah. And then everyone just like bandwagon in, and then they're just having a great time. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd love to know. I mean, Sean gave his account of the club, but I'd love to know since you basically had it planned out from the beginning. So I would love to know like what the beginning was like for the MVGO Club.
Okay. This is going to be a little bit of a while back. I'm going to try to recall the best I can, but I was during the time of the thought of inception was in the midst of COVID. So there wasn't really too many people back from quarantine. And I was actually taking lessons with Daniel ML, and I'm pretty sure that Sean mentioned him in the podcast last time. So Daniel ML, I introduced him to Daniel ML to take lessons from, because Daniel was the first one that taught me really.
He's the one who also streams, right?
Yes, he's the one that streams. Okay. I streamed with him. So back when I was a streamer, I went by the name of IndieSn. And with Daniel, we decided to do pretty much a broadcast lesson, me learning Go, and then he would be streaming it. And so I believe my lessons are actually available to anyone to watch online on his channel. But it started from there. And then he told me this one requirement that I had to do, which is one, to stop playing against AI, and two, to play against real people on a board. Because playing on a board is vastly different from playing on a screen. And
we're going to circle back to that.
Yes. So I was like, well, there's no one around me, but let me take a look. So I went on the AGA website, and I contacted all the local clubs in the area within like a 40-minute radius from where I live. And none of them were back in operation. I've sent out probably like, I don't know.
Like how far into COVID was this?
This was towards the end, when we were able to come back into meeting with, being out again, and being able to sit outside in restaurants and all that.
Mask requirements.
No mask requirements anymore. But
I see.
Yeah. So no, maybe with mask requirements. It was back in 2021. So. I think that's at the tail end of the whole quarantine era. And yeah, and so I was like, I couldn't get a hold of anybody that was in operation. The Long Beach was gone. The LA was in Santa Monica. They were still operational, but from here to there with traffic is about an hour and a half drive. And then the San Diego club was also about an hour and a half drive.
What about the Pasadena Go Club? Did you check that one out?
I did not. Pasadena was roughly around an hour away from where I was. So
Right, okay.
I tried to stay within a 30 to 40 minute driving distance.
Yeah.
So hence why I just couldn't get a hold of anybody. So I was like, you know what? If I can't get a hold of anybody, and there was a prominent like audience for this on Baduk.club, I was like, let me just set something up. Maybe, just maybe, somebody might be also searching for a Go club as well, and we might be able to get a club going. And so that was my initial reason for opening a club, because I wanted to play against human players, and I wanted to see what the difference was with that. And then from there, the club just grew. We met many great people with vast amounts of experience in Go, and it was. It just bloomed from there. And Sean, honestly, without Sean, I don't know if I would be sitting in the park by myself for much longer. Just because the very first day that that I opened, that I was actually going, it was in a park. And
a park. Oh, so it was like a picnic table?
Yeah, it was a picnic table. So I think Sean also said that it was like an outdoorsy area. So it was a picnic table. And I actually copied the Long Beach Club because they had it outside in a park too. So it was like, okay, well, people can do this, so why not try it? We don't have to really bug any like club areas or any
like business owners
for rental space. And so it's like, okay, outside is great. It's summertime. The air is nice in the morning. Why not? So and that's what happened.
Yeah,
so
I've actually played with the idea of like maybe starting a club, and like that's the hardest thing, I think, choosing a spot. And a park has been like the one that I was like, oh, it's the easiest one to do.
Yeah.
I loved your description of how you guys started, because when I first visited the club, the way you described it to me was that you were just going to sit there every week by yourself until something happened.
Yeah.
And it's funny that because you didn't have to wait that long, right? Because Sean showed up.
Yeah. And like I said, it was amazing that Sean showed up, and then we got a game going. And at the time, he was better than me. And I firmly believe he's still better than me till today. But
you beat him yesterday, didn't you?
I did finally, after a four in a row losing streak. So I finally was able to get back some sort of victory against Sean.
Was that 4 games yesterday, or was that just
just throughout?
History?
So the last we play probably once a week at the club, and so every time I would play him, I would lose, and very badly too, because Sean's, as you know, Sean's foundation in the beginning is just so strong, so solid, and my play style is not very good for that. So
yeah, I'm curious how he's changed, because I do remember that exact same thing about his style. I want to also give you a chance to defend yourself after we've talked about your style from the last episode and said it was chaotic and stuff. So what do you think your style is?
So to answer that first question about Sean, how his style's changed, he's improved a lot, and it's not in the sense of his fighting capabilities, but it's in his sense of being able to read out moves. And let me explain just a little bit, because the reason why I was able to beat him early in our friendly bouts was because I was an aggressive player. I was very aggressive. I was putting him into these overcomplicated fights. Yeah. And usually when I put him in overcomplicated fights, and it takes a long time for the game. Each game was about 40 minutes for us. He would get mentally exhausted, and he would just fail on his reading, and that's how I would beat him. Normally,
you had more endurance for reading.
I had a better knack for reading. I wouldn't say more endurance, but I had a better knack for it. And so I knew that about Sean's playstyle is he if I can put it into a long game and I make a lot of these complicated moves, chances are I will be able to kind of turn the tides into my favor. And I think Sean learned that about me, and he's just started playing very solid in the opening, very solid to the point where I cannot really do my tricky moves anymore. And he would always take away the Aji. Like I would leave Aji there, and I would get into another complicated fight, and he would just be like, "Nope, gonna take it now." And
that's funny because when we were talking, he said that I don't think he said he necessarily adapted to your style. I don't recall exactly what he said, but from your story, it sounds like he very much adapted to fix like the thing that you were exploiting.
Yeah, well, I don't think he's adapting to my style. I think he was fixing his own weaknesses.
Oh, he's just getting better.
Right? He's getting better. He's fixing his own weaknesses. And I just didn't improve. That was the honest. I just didn't improve because I was still playing very aggressively, over fighting. I had like a huge fighting spirit, as Daniel would say. And he was just not having that. He was like, "Nope, not gonna fall for this. I'm gonna play solid." And he pretty much he exploited my weaknesses, which is I overextend a lot with my groups. And because of that, once he had a solid position, he'll just break apart my groups, and I'm left with rubble. So that's I think was how I was really bad at playing. So
okay, so then what do you think? How do you perceive your style? Do you think we were accurate in our descriptions when we were saying that you're kind of chaotic? Do you get what we're saying? Or
yes, no, I totally understand it, and I actually laughed about it really hard because it is very true. When I heard you guys say that, I even told Sean, I was like, "Oh man, I love the banter talk about my play style," but it's so true because it is chaotic. I like to go into these chaotic fights. I like to put my opponent in a position where they really have to kind of guess what I'm trying to do. But as I'm playing him more and more, that doesn't work, and so I had to reassess my play style really, and try not to play those super complicated variation until I can. So.
Okay, you know what? That's interesting because I feel like there's a bit of Sean that I have. There's a bit of you that I have. I can't do some of the things that you do where you are able to just leave something and deal with it later. It's hard for me to move on from a certain situation, and I want to like settle something like 100% before moving on. And I like to play properly and like very kind of normal moves, but I'm very aggressive in the like overall scheme of things. Like I focus on attacking. So I feel like I can kind of see both sides. I do remember, I mean, I'd have to play you again to see, but I do remember when I played you, you had you were very sprinkling stones everywhere kind of thing.
Yes.
I think maybe that's a better more detailed way to explain.
Yes.
No, I
agree.
Do you still kind of like that?
When I was I think when you played me, I was still roughly around, oh my gosh, how long ago did we play? Like a year ago? About a year ago now?
Maybe even more.
Maybe year and a half maybe. So about a year ago, I was still roughly around 10 to 9Q. Roughly.
What are you right now?
I personally don't know. My OGS still says 10Q. I don't play ranked online. I try not to play ranked online. And so people in the club tell me I'm roughly around 5Q. With my play style. I've had a Dawn level player say that my reading ability is that of a 1Q. So I don't know. I truly don't know. But
that's definitely a thing where your skill set basically is just the average of all these different things. So I overheard Sean mention that your style is melting away. What do you think he meant by that?
I think that he probably is saying that I don't sprinkle my stones anymore. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't typically sprinkle my stones around anymore on the board. I think it's more of a amalgamation of his play style with a mixture of mine now. So I've taken a lot of his style and kind of incorporate it into my playstyle. And so I think that's what he's seeing as I'm not a super fighty person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That I do have a stronger opening now, a stronger foundation, but it's different. I think what he's trying to say is I play slightly differently from what he's used to.
Yeah. Do you think that? Go ahead.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that if you're that these changes are intentional on your end, or do you think they just kind of emerged after experience?
That I don't know. I can't really.
Well, did you make conscious efforts to do these to fix these things?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Not in the sense of fighting. I still love fights, and I still want to get into a good like life and death situation kind of thing. But I think that what I found that was a big weakness in my playstyle was I wasn't taking care of my groups when I was attacking. And so Sean would always exploit that. So I would try nowadays to, before I go on like a hyper offensive position, I have to make sure that my groups around my area is in a good enough position to be left alone. And so I pay attention to my groups, and this is what everyone says online too, you know, with Sean and Josh. Sorry, I should use their real names, their stage names. So it's Clausius and Dwyron. There we go, Clausius and Dwyron.
Okay, you don't have to take that out there. I thought you were mentioning like names of.
No, not in the Go Club, but these are like online YouTubers or streamers, and they would always say, just have a solid foundation, right?
That's so interesting that you thought of his first name before you thought of his.
Yeah, it happens, but it's but I remember that, and so I try to incorporate that into my play style now, which is make sure my groups are solid, have a good foundation, and then once that's all set, then go on a hyper offensive attack. And so
yeah. Sometimes the scary move is the very like unsuspecting one. So when your opponent makes a move that looks very suspiciously slow in the middle of chaos.
Yes.
Sometimes that means that they're preparing to do something very like aggressive.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the topic that I want to get into is we touched on this a little bit last time with Sean, but after Daniel told you not to play against, or I don't know if he told you not to play against AI, but he told you to play against people.
Yes.
But you continue to play against AI, correct?
Yes, I do.
Yes. I think I've seen you post your games. Those are AI games, right?
All AI games, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So why?
Before I answer this, I actually want to know your opinion, like solid opinion on this.
Me?
Yes, you. Because my reasoning is very different, and Sean has his own reasonings too. And as you know from his talk with you last time, he's not really a big fan of playing against AI. I don't think. Again, I don't want to put words in Sean's mouth, but I think that's what he said. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So no, he I mean, he kind of emphasized
that playing human players is better, right?
Is better, yeah.
So
okay.
So what are your thoughts on AI? Like playing against AI for training or just for fun? Like, what are your
tables
thoughts?
Have been turned. So yeah, basically those two perspectives. In terms of the fun aspect of it, when I play against AI, maybe it's the AI that I'm playing against, but I often feel it's very weird. And when I notice the AI will just play okay and then suddenly make a very uncharacteristic move. This is something I've encountered with multiple AI. I don't know why, but basically it's like their strength isn't very consistent, and it doesn't really match the consistency of, like, let's say a normal 3Q player. It will be a weird mixture. Like, I guess we are, as humans, already weird mixtures of like different skill sets, and we, like you said, your reading ability may be higher than your opening theory or whatever.
Now,
But yeah.
really quickly, I don't mean to interject, but really quickly, are you playing against so say that you are a 2Q. Are you playing against a 2Q AI, or are you playing a stronger AI or a weaker AI? Like, how do you usually take it?
Because I don't like playing against AI, I don't normally have a normal like strength that I play against.
Okay.
But from the experience that I've had, so I've played in career mode in Just Go. I've messed around with a couple of the OGS AI. I actually there used to be one called Kugutsu on OGS. I think it's been decommissioned. But I played against that one a lot a while back. Like, you know, when I was around 12Q or something like that.
Okay.
I played it over and over again and I would lose. It was like an 8Q AI or something like that.
Yeah.
Overall, I don't find too much enjoyment in playing against AI. I don't know. Maybe I should give it a chance. And then in terms of the training aspect of it, I mean, I think it's basically the same thing. So the enjoyment aspect reasons and the training reasons kind of line up. The AI, they won't. I don't know if they will challenge you at the right tension for the level you're at. They will challenge you at disproportionate things, I think, just by the nature of what AI is. Because as human minds, we have different areas of struggle. And I think the AI, it's like computers are bad at different things than what humans are bad at. And so it's like you're playing a different species almost. And I mean, it's different, right? It's a different feeling and it's a challenge in and of itself. But you might end up getting better at playing against AI than people. I don't know if that's...
And again, I don't know this answer. That's why I want to know more opinions about it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I asked.
Yeah, I think especially for beginners, though, I know a lot of beginners have anxiety playing against people, and they don't want to, you know, they're scared for whatever reason. They haven't played against real people before, so and then the AI is very convenient, so they just play AI over and over again. I think that is the point where I would say, like, you know, what your teacher said, right? You need to play against people, right? At least you're playing against people as well as AI, so you kind of understand there is a difference. I'm sure you feel it, right?
Yes, there is.
Yeah, so as long as you're doing that, I feel like that is definitely not as bad as if you're just a beginner and you're stuck on playing AI and then that's all you do.
Yes. So now I can give you my answer because I have a thing to work on. So I'm a huge introvert. I know a lot of people say I don't seem like an introvert, but I am. And when I play against a human player, especially on an online forum, I have like really big anxiety for whatever reason. And I usually have like a mini panic attack while I'm playing. So because of that, I'm very big on AI because I don't feel that. But I've come to understand AI in a different, I guess you would say, different perspective now. Playing against humans, especially with the people in our club, you know, they each have their own unique style of playing. And I do not recommend playing against AI if you are just learning it. Like if you're just learning the ropes of the game itself. Right. Now, this is where my opinion changes, is when you kind of have some experience. I'm not saying like single digits Q experience. I'm saying like some experience in the game itself. Maybe you are 10K, maybe 11K. I think that's when you can start really just having a training aspect with AI. And I took this and I learned this kind of perspective from another YouTuber who I've had a chance to kind of just message him once or twice. His name is Lance Kemper, and he's taught Go for many years. His YouTube account's Shy Ghost. I was recommended by one of our Dawn level players to watch him, and I have been fascinated with how he's been playing. And his teaching videos are all against Crazy Stone's AI, which I actually have. I bought the app on the Apple for like I don't know. I forgot how much the app was, but I bought it. And whenever he's playing against AI, his methodology is don't play the best moves or the right moves, because you won't know if it's good or bad. But take the approach of playing reasonable moves and have a confidence level of, a pretty good confidence level when you're playing those reasonable moves. And what are reasonable moves? Reasonable moves is, do I defend my group? Is my group under attack? Do I, make eyes? Do I protect my cutting point? If the opponent's cutting, what do I do? And so when I'm playing against AI, I'm actually training myself how to think like that. And I would use AI to kind of exploit my own weaknesses, because when you're playing against AI, it's not going to show you what real humans would do. And as you and Sean both state, it's like playing a mixed player, where one move is a Dawn level move and the other move is like a double digits Q move kind of thing. Right. And so your responses to each of those moves has to be there. You have to have that understanding of what those moves are. Yeah. For someone who's just starting out, they won't know what move is Gote or what move is Sente, right? And so if an AI plays and it's a Gote move, but you respond to it, I mean, you just responded to a Gote move. There's other moves that you can do that's bigger on the board. Right. And so the fluctuation in levels, it helps train me to see, is this a Gote or a Sente move? And if I can identify it's a Gote move, then I got a free move on another piece of the board where I can capitalize on that. Right. Okay. So basically you're almost treating it like a training bot, and you're trying to train your fundamentals, almost like you're like, because kind of in martial arts. Yeah. Because a Dawn level AI will exploit all your weaknesses, in my opinion. Like, it'll show you where you're weak, and it will destroy you in the game. So I was just recently playing Fuego, which is the OGS AI at 5K. And with Crazy Stones at 5K, I was constantly able to beat it. But with Fuego, I wasn't able to. And so there was something fundamentally wrong with my approach in my games itself. So you switch up the AI to like round yourself out. Yes. Oh, very interesting. So I'll play different AIs just because it gives me a different feel. And so now I have to judge my fundamentals. I have to test my fundamentals. Hey, am I playing correctly? Am I being too impulsive? Am I am I taking this the wrong way? Am I cutting too soon? Like, I have to constantly ask myself that. With Fuego, I played it, I think 37 times. Something outrageous within like 5 days. And I've lost probably, out of 37 times, I probably lost 32 times. Okay. And it wasn't until like the very end when I was able to beat it 4 times in a row. And usually once I was able to beat an AI consecutively, then I can say I've improved enough to go to a stronger level. Yeah, and that's very determined. You're at least getting your hours in playing games. I think that's a problem people have. And I think reflection is a big thing too. So also reflecting your game, like why did the AI beat me? Well, the AI beat me because I left my groups open. So next game, I need to fix that. Something like that. So, do you think you are familiar enough with certain AI that if you were to compare, like without seeing who you're playing against, would you be able to tell? No, I haven't been able to tell. No, but you can you kind of feel like the differences? I can kind of, but whenever I go back to the AI that I've played against, I forget how I beat it before. So it doesn't really work if I memorize how to beat them one time and then come back later and then try to recall. I'm very bad with memorizing. So I typically don't like to memorize Josekis or anything because I can never do it. I can never remember it. It's not in my brain capacity to do it. So I need a better way to play Go than to pretty much memorize, and hence why it's there's a proverb like learn Joseki to get to become a stone weaker.
Have you heard that one?
I did not. No.
No, I think there's like, it's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek proverb, but basically what it's implying is that when you learn Joseki, you kind of start depending on it, and you don't really think about, you don't develop a natural sense of what you're supposed to play there. And so you basically you kind of get screwed over by learning something new, which is an interesting,
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I could see that.
I think as you were talking, I kind of remembered something I found very frustrating about AI. I think if it's a somewhat strong AI, eventually what will happen is there will come a moment where it just sees something read out 100%, and I won't know it, and it will just strangle me. And at the end of that killing, I will say, this is a crazy sequence that I would never face at my level. And I feel like ripped off. Like, if I was playing against a human player, they would never see that, right? So I'm like, oh, why am I playing against this?
How extreme are we talking about? Are we talking about like 50 moves in advance?
Not
or are we
50, but like, just like, it's like, like maybe like when you're playing against a human player, they might find like a very insightful Tsuji, and you'd be like, oh, wow, I didn't see that. I didn't know that Tsuji. But this is like 4 Tsuji stacked on each other.
Okay. Now, I would ask, when you were playing against one of the club members yesterday, he was a 3-dan level. Did you feel that he was reading that much further than you?
No. I made a
like what was the difference in
what's
the
funny?
feel?
What's funny? Yeah, that's a good question. What's funny was in the beginning, I actually made a really beginner misreading because I was trying to follow. What happened was I was trying to follow cut on the side you want to throw away. Have you heard that one?
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, there was a Atari, and then I was gonna make the Atari, but then I was like, oh, hold on, I should cut on the side that I want to throw away. And I thought about it, and I was like, okay, let's do it. And I cut, and that was not an Atari, so it was not sent. And so it was completely not the right context for that proverb. And I kind of like laughed, and I was like, oh, big mistake. And he's just let me take back my move. But to answer your question, he did a couple of times show me, or like, he honestly didn't really do too much outreading of me. I didn't feel like he outread me, and that's how I lost the game. I think he had a better sense of life and death. He had other sequences up his sleeve that he knew about already, and he knows like how to exploit my groups in a very logical manner. It wasn't like a twisty, like complicated way. It was just this is how you do it, right? It's very simple and honest kind of feeling of like, this is the situation. I'm going to put the stone down here, and this is what the situation you're in now. It's not like this, like, oh, this cut here. It actually leads to like a 12, stone capture if you go this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. Obviously, that's the type of thing human players really do. So I feel like there is a definite difference there. One AI-like thing about him was that he was very keen on tanukiing. I'm sure half of that was maybe we're playing a handicap game. I gave him 3 stones, or he gave me 3 stones. But the other half is he just knows, like, oh, I can leave that for later. Which is something AI I think does a lot. Like they'll just kind of tanuki, and you'll be like, what? So yeah, I think there is a definite difference in how an AI would feel. AI would maybe get wrapped up in a fight with me. Like they'll be like, yeah, bring it on, and then let's fight. Whereas maybe if I was playing against who I played yesterday, he would be like, oh, that fight's not worth it. That's not big enough. I'm gonna go here. And then the AI will be like, yeah, bring it on. Let's fight. And then in the middle of it, and you're like, yeah, you didn't see this coming, did you? And like he wraps around all my stones and threatens 3 groups, and I don't know what happens, but yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. You've been playing AI for a while now, right? And I think one thing that you've mentioned is good is the consistency, like the leveling up feeling, where you do have this solid reference to go against. And I don't know if you're aware, but a while back, OGS shifted all of its ranks.
Oh, really?
It was like I took a hiatus from Go and I came back a few ranks higher, and I was like, wow, that's a pleasant surprise. Basically, they changed their rating system to the Glicko 2 rating system, and it caused some players to get bumped up and things like that. So I was like, okay, so what strength am I? What strength was I before? Like, what was I? And one of the ways I could tell was Smart Go. Like, I had Smart Go on my phone, and I used to play the 9x9 bot, and I would do the same thing as you did. Like, I would level up. I would basically beat the bot and be like, oh, okay, I'm confident at this level, and I beat the bot at this handicap rate this many times. I'm gonna bump it up and take off a handicap stone and try to beat it. And it was a very consistent way to measure my skill. And I think it is a little the what's it called? The downsides of AI is a lot less pronounced on a 9x9 because it's purely fighting. And so I think I'll get back to that. Actually, I want to see how I fare against that bot.
Interesting.
Have you ever tried the Smart Go bot?
I've never tried the Smart Go bot. I do have the app, but I've never tried it.
Do you have Smart Go 1 or just the regular Smart
Just
Go?
the regular one, the free one, I think.
No, I think the other one's free too.
Oh, is it both free? Oh, let me see.
But yeah.
No, I typically don't play 9x9s. I have Smart Go 1. There we go. Yeah, Smart Go 1.
Okay, yeah. I think I got my app before. I also have Smart Go 1, but before he released Smart Go 1, it was just Smart Go. And it had like a bot, and you could basically just level up the bot. All right, why don't we take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Sure.
Alrighty, so I will ask you some rapid fire questions now, like I did with Sean.
Cool.
I don't know if you remember his answers. I do switch
not.
up a couple of them. Okay, good. I did switch up a couple of them. The first one is not I'm not trying to cancel you with this first question. I know how it kind of sounded last time, but black or white?
I know this is supposed to be rapid fire, but playing either color is a different strategy, so I guess both for me. Either one.
Okay, let's say you only play one color for the rest of your life.
Oh, darn it. Black. I'll play black.
Black? Okay. I think that lines up with... Okay, handicap game. Okay, so when you're playing a stronger player, would you rather play a handicap game or an even game?
Okay, so this goes into why I have social anxiety. Not social anxiety, but why I have anxiety playing against people is because I do want them to always have a challenge or always have fun playing the game and not feel like it's too easy. So I lean towards handicap for that reason. So that it's a challenge for them and kind of gives them a good experience while playing too.
Okay, for the other person. That's very polite of you. 4-4 or 3-4 or other?
Oh, man. I've been learning 3-4s lately. I've always went 4-4s, but I'm becoming to appreciate the 3-4. But my go-to is still 4-4s, so I'll go 4-4.
4-4, got it. Online or over the board?
Over the board.
Okay. Resign respectfully or hope for a mistake?
Well, if you were asking me about a year and a half ago, hope for a mistake. Now, resign respectfully. No, I will probably be resigning respectfully nowadays.
Okay. Attack or defense?
Attacking while defending.
I'm like sort of answering these questions for you in my head. Like, this is what you would answer.
Am I close?
Well, I thought you would just say attack.
Okay.
But you're learning.
No,
you're
my
evolving.
play style has evolved, so I would attack while defending. So
Blitz or long games?
Oh, the long games. No, I don't like blitz.
Oh, okay. Favorite Go variant?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I would say my favorite Go variant would be Parago.
Parago, cool. Single convex or double convex?
For competition, like a tournament, double convex, biconvex. For just casual fun and teaching games, single convex.
Wow, very nuanced opinions.
Yeah.
Influence or territory?
Nowadays, I had territory.
Territory. Playing to improve. Well, it lines up with your switch up to 3-4.
Yes.
Playing to improve or playing for fun?
Oh, playing to improve or playing for fun? That's a hard one. Playing to improve or playing for fun? I would say if you were playing against a stronger player and you want them to also have fun and you have fun at the same time, playing to improve. If you're playing against someone who is doing it casually and just enjoys the game for the sake of enjoying, then play for fun.
I like you're just basically very respectful of what the other person wants to do.
Yeah.
That's nice. Okay. Thanks for that.
Well, thank you for the questions.
Yeah. It's time for the DDK Advice Corner. And so, Sean, do you have any, or so not Sean, Tin?
What?
Do you have any?
My name is Sean now. Sean, I took over.
You know what? I was so confused when I first showed up to the MV Go Club because your handle is IndieSn, and so I knew I was talking to someone named Sean, and then I saw your handle SN, and I was like, oh, that must mean Sean.
You know, so the funny story about that is that I always would use the name Sean whenever I'm like going to order food on takeout, because they'll always get my name wrong. And so I try to find a name that is very hard to get wrong, and not too many people have that name in the area. So Sean was
you happened to match up with you. Manifested him.
Yeah. Well, there's also another nerdier thing why SN was at the end, but it's but Sean was my go-to. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you? This is so totally random and off topic, but when whenever you've like told someone your name and said Tin, and they say what, and you said like, and they said something else like and then you say just Tin. Have they thought Justin?
Yeah, no, they thought Justin, they thought Timothy, they thought Timmy, they thought Tintin. They went the whole spiel on that. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna name it SN. SN is the chemical symbol for tin on the periodic table. Hence why it's SN. That's the nerdy part of it. And then
that's really cool.
Yeah. And that's how the name developed. So
that's very creative. Back to the DDK Advice Corner. Do you have any particular piece of advice you would give weaker players?
For a DDK? Find a mentor.
Find a mentor.
Find a mentor.
That's a good one. I don't know why I haven't said that one before.
Yeah. The mentor speeds up the understanding process, especially in the beginning, by an astronomical amount. I tried to learn Go on my own. I was never able to pick it up. And just having Daniel go through like 3 or 4 lessons with me, that helped a lot. And it just helped.
How did you find Daniel?
We were streaming in the past. I was streaming Go on my own, on my Twitch channel, and Daniel is one of the other Go streamers, and we just started talking, I guess. I don't really recall my first experience talking to him, like contacting him, but that's how it happened. And then we just started streaming together. We started doing collabs together, and then one thing led to another, and then I started doing more Go content, and he's like, hey, I noticed that you're doing more Go. Would you like a couple lessons? And I was like, yeah, sure. Let's do it, because I want to get better at the game. And that's what happened. So yeah. What
would you say to people who feel like they can't find someone, or they're having trouble finding anyone stronger than them?
Well, ask around, I would say. If you're having trouble finding someone, there's a lot of people online. They're charging online lessons. Daniel himself, and I don't mean to kind of just put Daniel's name out there.
No, I mean,
but he charges $10 a lesson, which was super affordable for me, or super affordable for people at the time. And like Lance Kemper, he charges $40 a lesson. So it really, if you really want to jump speed your learning, I think $10 is really not a bad deal.
There's quite a range of prices, I think, set by teachers.
I mean, Michael Redmond, the professional 9-dan Go, I believe he charges like $50 for a 1 hour lesson with him.
Honestly, for someone of his stature, that's cheap.
That's super cheap. So from a professional too. And yeah, so that's how I got to know Daniel, to answer your question. So
all right, that was an excellent tip. And yeah, we'll get right into listener mail. Okay, so before I start reading some of the listener mail, I do want to mention I got reached out to by Damien from Gome.at. I mentioned Gome, I believe it was in the Sean episode, but it is a new website that compiles all sorts of Go news in English, and he told me that he featured me he's adding me to the list of types of content that's going to be featured on the website. And I feel dumb for not being able to pronounce this earlier, because I think I said Go Me or Go Me because it's spelled Gome. But like if you look at the logo, it literally has like a house, like a home, and so it's supposed to be like a go home. That's what it is. Like
go home.
Yeah.
Go.
Gome. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But yes, thank you to Damien for reaching out about that. First listener mail is from Rach. It is correct that you can encounter bots on Baduk Pop via auto match. Bots and new accounts always have a question mark at their rating. I've never encountered a bot without a question mark. The bots I got matched with at around 1300 to 1400 rating always attach to my stones very early and play random tanuki. There is a clear pattern in my opinion. Have you ever played on Baduk Pop? It's an app.
Yes, I have.
Okay, have you played correspondence on that?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay.
I've done a lot of their sumegos there, but I tried not to do too many correspondence anymore. I'll do some, but I've been training myself to play more live, and so
live, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have this like thing with Baduk Pop where I would keep thinking that I was playing a bot, and the ones that I played against did have a rating, so it wasn't. And it was like, the thing is that they were just always so like consistent at responding, and I don't know.
Wait, so I'm sorry, I'm going to interject just a little bit.
Yeah,
so are they using like the chess ELO rating system because it's like 1200, 1300, or is it? Did they upgrade that? That's interesting.
I haven't been on the app in a while, but I think I may remember something like that with the ELO system.
Well, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, if you go on OGS, they actually have a hidden ELO system.
I never understood that.
Yeah, I mean, as Go players, 99% of us will just say the Q down rank.
Yep.
Continuing on, that said, it really depends on what time of day. I've played more than 100 games without being matched to a single bot. When I play on a different time of day, the chance greatly increases. You will get matched with bots if there are or enough players online, and you would have to wait a long time to get a game. This has confirmed to me by the developer via a support request. Oh, okay, so even Baduk Pop says there are bots.
Yeah, okay.
I would like to turn that feature off and wait longer, so as you can in GoQuest, for instance. Yeah, I think that's fair, because I honestly I stopped playing because of the bots, and I would rather try to start a correspondence game and then wait for a few days to get matched rather than immediately get matched with a bot. That's another thing. I was playing correspondence, and these Korean players were playing in the daytime for me. So I'm like, why is everyone awake? Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks for writing in, Rach. And then a big blind buys says, in response to the discussion on Sumego, my stance is that when you do Sumego, you should aim to either train intuition and memorization of shapes, or reading depth and breadth and diligence, and you want to use different types of training methods to achieve those two objectives. Yes, that's exactly what I've said in a previous episode. Do you do much Sumego these days, Tin?
I try to do it on the Sumego app. I'll do the daily, but I tried not to do too much Sumego anymore because I found that at my current level, my problem isn't reading. My problem is other fundamentals, so I've been working on that.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, it's good to identify what your weakness is and try to work on that.
But I do Sumego. It's just the daily ones.
Yeah. Do you tend to be like a heavy reading Sumego trainer, or do you like to do like the memorization style?
Again, I'm bad with memorizing, so I'm like really terrible with memorizing. So I would say try to find, and this goes to just experience in teaching in general. I would say every problem that you've encountered tests a concept. So what is the concept they're trying to test you, and then try to figure it out that way.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Continuing
on, to train intuition of shapes, you want to do timed Sumego on the easier side, maybe 1 to 2 stones weaker than your strength, with each problem taking no more than a few seconds, and you should just rapid fire through them, going for high counts. To train reading, depth/breadth, and diligence, you want to do untimed Sumego. Don't let time pressure you out of reading things out. On the difficult side, maybe 1 or 2 stones stronger than your strength, with each problem taking even multiple minutes. Take your time and read through it all to find the solution. Yeah, that's exactly, I 100% agree with that. Although for some reason, the thing is that it's difficult for me to do maybe it's because I don't do it timed, but when I try to do the rapid fire ones and I can't figure it out, I will not look up the answer. I will just stay there, and it'll turn into a diligence test when it was supposed to be like a shape knowledge training. Also, connecting this to the discussion of whether to do Sumego or not before a tournament, I think that's what we were talking about with Sean. I think at the very least, you should be able to do the easy and fast ones in rapid fire, and they won't really tire you out in any meaningful way, but they'll still help warm you up a bit. Thanks, Big Blind Buys, for all the insightful stuff on Sumego. Any thoughts on that, Tim?
I agree that you do need to warm up your brain before going into a match. That is, if
you warm up before you play?
I typically either warm up or I watch other players play the game, and I will, kind of warm up my brain that way. So yeah.
Oh, okay, that's a good passive way to do it.
Yeah, because your brain's like a muscle, so warm it up before working it out. I think that's not too bad of a strategy.
Like, I have a bad habit for both. I don't warm up at all before playing Go, and I also don't warm up before I start my main sets when I go to the gym.
You got to, otherwise your muscles are cold and it's gonna injuries are more prominent.
You're right, but I'm just like I can't waste time. I have this equipment, like,
Yeah,
anyway,
I totally understand. Got it.
AJ Bruin says, love the podcast, keep it up, dude. Thanks so much for writing in. Plixic writes, great to hear from an average club player or any players with something to say about the game. I just like to hear people talk about Go. You hear that, Tin? Plixic likes to hear people talk about Go, so that includes you.
Thank you. I'm very average, so I like it.
Nice. Thanks for rating in Plixic. And then Abandonment says, I thought it was a nice touch to include Sean in all the sections of the episode and not just the main one. Nice conversation too. I've been meaning to visit a Go club, but the closest one is just a bit too far of a trip for me at the moment. Well, thanks for rating in Abandonment. Yeah, that's always the problem. Like, that's what got you.
Yeah, that's how we started. Yeah, because everything's too far, and so it really does take a lot to open up a club. So I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. But if you want to meet people around the area and open a club, and just be consistent with the timing, and people might show up. So
yeah, that really is key, right? The consistency. Because although I don't go visit your club very often, I know in the back of my head, like, what time and what place and what day of the week you guys are going to be there at. So if I ever think of going, I know where to go.
we were happy to have you yesterday. So.
Yeah, thanks. You're very happy to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And then thanks for writing in Abandonment. My boy writes, awesome, enjoying episode so far. Hope to see more guests and interviews. Your episode with Telegraph Go is one of my favorites. Thanks for writing in, nice. My boy. Yeah, and it's very much enjoy having you and Sean on the show as well. So I'd love to have you guys again, and maybe we'll do a trio episode.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, yes, that would be very fun. Thanks for writing in, my boy. And then finally, we have Silver Teen Bass, who says, great podcast as always, and an idea. What if you interviewed/recorded total beginners trying out Go for the first time, while explaining the game to them and hearing their impressions of the game? One student would be great, but perhaps introducing the game to two beginners would perhaps be better and easier. For example, two teachers and two beginner players who are playing against each other after you have briefly stated the basic rules and trying to understand how to form two eyes, etc. Or perhaps let them figure out a situation when a group of stones cannot be surrounded and see if they figure out how to make two eyes, or different couples or people trying out Go. I think it would be a fascinating episode. Yes, one cannot see the board, but the sound and speech can convey a lot. Thanks for writing in, Silver Teen Bass. And I would love to do something like that. I think you may overestimate the resources I have. For something like that. I'm sure I can make it happen, but... Well,
I think another way that you can do this, and I'm just going to piggyback on the idea, is that, do you have any of your old SGF when you first started?
I do.
Why don't you talk us through the thoughts of why you were playing certain moves at that point? I think that would be a really cool episode too.
I could do that. That's a lot easier and doable. I think the thing is that this person they want to hear the social interaction of someone questioning the game and learning and things like that. Because I also would find this interesting. I don't know if you have seen this, but there is if you search on YouTube, 12-Week Miracle. There is a Korean series where I think the series point is to try to get someone to like an expert level of skill of something in 12 weeks. And
that this was series with GoPro Yun, right?
Yes. Have you seen it?
I've seen. I think I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, they take a professional golf player and then a comedian, and then they try to train them from knowing nothing about Go to all the way to their goal was 7Q, I think, or 8Q or something like that. And I mean, I highly recommend checking it out to see if they succeed. And that's basically what you're talking about. It's literally two teachers and two beginners, and it's with like you said, GoPro Yonu. But I would love to do something like that too, maybe in the future. If the stars align.
That'd be really cool, but I think that's more of a YouTube thing too. So
yeah, I honestly, if I were to do something that involved, I would be regretful to not include the video of them actually playing. So I think, we'll see. Thanks for the suggestion, Silver Teen Bass. And so we're moving on to the question of the week. How do you feel about playing against AI? Is this something that you do? Do you think it's good for you, bad for you? I would love to know your thoughts, and you can let Tin know. And,
I think it's going to be one-sided here.
No, I don't know. I think there's going to be some conversation. Well, let me know. All right,
that'd be great, because I don't want to be the only one that's like, "Yay, play against AI."
No, I'm sure there's a lot of people. They just don't speak out as much. So if you want to share your thoughts on that question, or if you have any Go story to share, or have a question you want to ask me, you can comment on YouTube or Reddit for this episode, or you can email me directly at startpointpaduk@gmail.com. That's startpointbaduk@gmail.com. If you're a YouTube listener, I would greatly appreciate a like and or subscribe, and if you're a podcast listener, a review and or rating would also help. A very, very special thank you to Jeffrey H. and Tristan H. for supporting Starpoint. And Tin, a lot of people have different opinions on Japanese counting versus Chinese counting. And I find it very confusing that this is even up for discussion. You know why?
Why?
Because I think it's just very logical to count in whatever language you're most comfortable with.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
I don't know if that was... Did you understand my little joke there?
Processing. So if you guys can imagine my face right now, there's like a loading screen on my face. I'm trying to process everything. Okay, explain the joke to me because I'm not getting it.
Well,
Japanese. Japanese counting and Chinese counting, whatever language you're most comfortable in, because you're counting in your head that language. Is that the joke? Or am I totally miscovering?
I don't know. I've never had to do this before for the closing joke, but well, you know what Japanese counting and Chinese counting is in Go, right?
Yes, it's the same numbers. It's the same character, right?
Oh, you're literally thinking about counting. No, I'm talking about like area and territory counting. That's a classic problem of the misdirection going wrong because you were already misdirected to begin with.
Yes. Oh my gosh, now I feel embarrassed.
No. That was perfect. I'm sure a lot of people sometimes they don't get my joke and they like, oh, I didn't get the joke, and so you represented that group of people.
Yeah, you're welcome.
yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. Keep playing Go.
Take care, everyone.